And
All
next
right,
we
thank
have
you.
Don Gleason. How are you, Don?
I am actually fantastic. I'm blessed. It's been a great day.
Yes, we talked before the show. I said, "How are you?"
Yep.
You said, "Fantastic." You go,
Yeah.
"Actually, I'm blessed." And I said, "No, you're both."
Yep. Yep. Anytime we can, I got to go to our local elementary school this morning. We have some adopted grandkids. We met at the pool and we got to meet the parents, and we've kind of become adopted grandparents. And they invited me to attend the elementary school Veterans Day ceremony. It's just
Cool.
awesome to see the kids and their patriotism. We'll talk about that.
Awesome. Well, who
Yeah.
nominated you?
Brian Arrington.
That doggone Brian Arrington. I mean,
He's he's got a
he,
lot, doesn't he?
I told him, I said, if you get 30 people, you'll probably have 30 people say your name.
There you go.
And just so I'm clear, we know a lot of veterans, and we are
Mhm.
picking the ones that really deserve the publicity. This is a publicity piece to let the world know that
Mhm.
service is important, patriotism is
Mhm.
important, and the stories that you get in your life being changed is going to be priceless. So,
Mhm.
um, let me see, what branch of service were you in?
U.S. Air Force, civil engineer.
Yeah, you guys are taking over this event. I'll tell you
That's right. As we should.
that. So the stage is yours. Please share your feelings and thoughts about patriotism and the importance of service, and of course, a nice little anecdotal story. I'll be
All
back in
right.
about 6 minutes, maybe seven.
Sounds good. And I'm actually going to reverse those just a little bit. I'm going to touch on service first and then patriotism. When I first raised my hand, I wasn't thinking about patriotism. I was graduating college and I needed a job. And I frankly didn't want to get back to a master's degree. I wanted to get out and get some experience. And it was either the Air Force or master's degree. So I joined the service. And what a great decision that was. When I say I was blessed, I truly feel like I was blessed. 4 years experience turned to 27 years because it was the people that I served with. I had the opportunity to lead teams, to help people become better than they thought they could be, right? Sometimes you were working with young men and with women who are just old enough to vote, and you were able to build in them a confidence, uh, a self-image that they were able to do things that they never dreamed they could do. And I think over time, that built in the patriotism for me, the friendships I developed, the people I worked with, the um, the challenges, the deployments. I got to go to, I see Operation Desert Storm in Batman, Turkey. I got to go to Operation Provide Comfort just a couple weeks later in Salopi, Turkey, right on the Iraqi border. And we got to go down into Iraq. And we were setting up airfields for our Air Force Special Ops, Army Special Forces folks to operate from in the northern part of the operation. It was really exciting to see how everything was coming together and working. And I think that's where the patriotism really built in. I remember just before that, in 89, in 90, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, they were asking the question. A lot of people were doing conscientious objector. And my wife looked at me and says, "What do you think of that?" And I said, "Hey, when I joined officer training school, I had to make a decision. If the Air Force deployed me and called on me to lay down my life, would I do that?" And I had to be a yes if I was going to join the service. And that's where I was. So I think over time, that's the foundation that I had in patriotism. And I built on that. But patriotism isn't fireworks, it's not flags, it's faces. It's the men and women of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardmen, Guardians, public health, all those services who deploy. And beyond that, it's really the families who stayed behind and kept things burning, kept the fires burning, got the kids to school, got the kids to activities, handled the behavior issues while we were deployed. But it was also the communities. The communities were showing patriotism because during our deployments, they sent us candy, they sent us cookies, they sent us cakes, they sent us letters, they sent us cards just to show that they cared about us. And we came back, they had huge parties and receptions, and they gave us big hugs and said, "Welcome back. Thank you for serving." As I drove this morning through the elementary school, the little parade before we did that Veterans Day service I was talking about earlier. All the kids were lined up and they had their flags and "thank you, thank you." And it's just neat to see how we're starting in young kids today into patriotism to get them to understand what service is about. But as I said, it's more than just the person in uniform. I think about to me, patriotism is us coming together to build a stronger America. Now, that could be stronger any country, but for us, it's America. And I think in that case, it's the teacher who's working with the kids and helping them to learn and to grow and develop that vision for what they want to do in the future. It's the nurse who's working the night shift and dealing with sickness or injury or, God forbid, gunshot wounds today. And they're holding hands. They're comforting the families. They're being there to make sure that that individual survives and gets to come back out. It's the organizations like the Red Cross. I was honored to be in the Red Cross in the board chair, and I was able to step into positions to help people who had lost their homes due to fire and other things. So there's a lot of different organizations that are helping today in patriotism. And I think the story that really motivates me the most is when I got to deploy to Baghdad in 2004. It was after Iraqi freedom. And it was to help manage the $12.8 billion Reconstruction program. And in the back of every briefing, we had a slide that showed various kids of Iraq. And it was, we are helping to build a new Iraq for these guys, one built on what we talk about: justice, freedom, peace, patriotism, building a foundation for them. And it was probably one of the most challenging assignments, but I know definitely it was one of the most rewarding assignments with the things I got tasked with, got challenged with. I would love to talk more and more about those, but just to say that you get out of your comfort zone and you grow and you learn and you can just do some amazing things. And the men and women I got to serve with, there's 400 people under my command as we were working the Reconstruction. And we were building into those $12.8 billion worth, 3,257 projects, new hospitals, clinics, schools, oil, wastewater, giving them a new future. And I think that's what really inspired me and really probably built that patriotism even into me more and more, as I found out that it's really about serving. It's about doing something, as one of our previous speakers said, doing something much greater than yourself.
Amen. Well, Don, thank you so much for a very brilliant and inspiring talk. I know that you have a lot more to say, and we are happy to have you back for another show, for another read.
Sounds good.
We are doing shows for leadership all the time, and since you are with the Maxwell leadership team, I can assure you that you and I will get to know each other better, and you will probably be on my Smiley show for an hour where you can really get to speak your piece. But
that would be
now,
great.
We got the next speaker coming up, but how can people reach out and connect with you?
The best way is on LinkedIn. There's a number of Don Gleasons, but I'm the only one who uses my middle initial. One of our next speakers is a LinkedIn guy, and he helped me build that in. So kudos to him.
What's the initial?
L.
Leadership.
So Don L for leadership. Gleason. Yep. I'm the only one that's in there. And send me a note and say, hey, I saw you here on talking about patriotism, and I would love to connect with you, and we'll talk.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Don.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Next we have